when you're dealing in souls, while also being a gambler.
As one of the earliest characters created by Vivziepop, it makes sense that Alastor has risen in popularity among Hazbin Hotel fans. Always fully dressed with a smile, the Overlord appears 3 steps ahead of every situation, willing to go the extra mile to influence a situation or put himself in a position of power. He has a reputation for cutting down his fellow Overlords for personal gain, which begs the question, why did Alastor want Husk's soul, and why did he allow the other demon to live when so many others suffered before him? Alastor's random act of kindness must have an ulterior motive. In today's video, we'll try to determine the nature of Alastor and Husk's relationship, including why Husk was kept around in the first place.
Keep you afloat, even making deals yourself. So I know what it's like to.
Number 1. Husk initiated the deal. Husk admits in Masquerade that he used to take unnecessary risk when he was an Overlord. As a gambler, he used his lone source of power while making bets and playing cards. In doing so, he lost everything, leaving him powerless in a society where only the strongest tend to survive. To save himself and keep his power in moderation, he deals with Alastor, allowing himself to be at the Overlord's beck and call for the foreseeable future. However, Alastor's habit of killing Overlords, likely to harvest the souls in their collection, makes Husk's situation seem rare. If Alastor would have rather taken Husk's power, then Husk may have initiated their deal to begin with. During the song, Loser Baby, we witness a scene of Husk and Alastor standing on opposite sides of a playing table. If they met in a casino, Husk may have tested his luck by gambling against Alastor, without knowing the trouble he was in. Alastor may have gained the upper hand during their game, leaving Husk with nothing to gamble with except his soul. If that's the case, they may have made arrangements before the last round that ensured Husk kept his life and some of his rights. In Hello Rosie, Alastor wants to make a deal with Charlie, but she limits what he can ask her. Currently, Charlie owes Alastor a favor due at any time of his choosing, but she can't hurt someone else in his name. Alastor agreed to these terms happily, and may have done the same thing for Husk. Instead of taking the Overlord's soul and broadcasting his screams across the radio as he's done with others, Alastor may have agreed to keep Husk as a servant, someone who must answer Alastor's every beck and call. In return, Husk could keep his life and what little remained of his abilities. An arrangement that required Husk's constant employment to Alastor would explain their dynamic in Hazbin Hotel. Husk claims more than once that he didn't choose to work at the hotel, and he wouldn't have come there if he had a choice. However, Husk seems to have worked for Alastor for a long time, at least for the past 7 years, as he's aware of Alastor's absence and his former associates, like Mimsy. He's grown complacent along the way, learning to feel concern for the Overlord who owns his soul. Unfortunately, getting close to Alastor can have deadly consequences, something Husk and the others are reminded of in Dad Beat Dad.
Good talk, my good man. Always nice to catch up.
Number 2. Possible moral codes. Alastor likes keeping his past on a need-to-know basis. After living at the hotel for months, his fellow residents know nearly nothing about him. Aside from his unnerving personality and that they can ask him to help when there are problems around the building, Alastor never partakes in Charlie's trust-building exercises or social outings, so he's not interested in making friends or getting closer to the others. However, we know that he's capable of caring for other people. Alastor appears to have some inner moral code that impacts how he interacts and treats others. The instances we have of Alastor interacting with his friends include positive outcomes. In Dad Beat Dad, we see he's not afraid to instigate others or pick fights he believes he can win. Most notably, he begins feuding with Lucifer because he doesn't want the King of Hell stepping in to influence Charlie. He goes so far as to curse at him during their first meeting, an occurrence that is reserved for when Alastor is in high-risk or stressful situations. However, no matter how poorly Alastor may treat people, like Lucifer, Vox, or the past Overlords, he maintains many female friendships. Directly after picking a fight with Lucifer, the group is interrupted by Mimsy, an old friend of Alastor's, whom he embraces with open arms. Although she brings danger to the hotel, he spares her life and allows her to stay, even knowing she wouldn't take him up on the offer. Alastor is also close with his fellow Overlord, Rosie. They're happy to reconnect in Hello Rosie, and it's obvious he spent extended time in Cannibal Town. The two friends depend on one another to find promising deals, as Rosie offers one to Alastor when he arrives with Charlie, and later claims that Alastor has never steered her wrong before. They also share the same disdain for Susan, sing together, and share their plans for future schemes. In a world where someone should always look over their shoulder, Alastor must value Rosie as a close confidant. He also has a kinder relationship with Nifty than other characters, especially when compared to Husk. In The Show Must Go On, Alastor admits to Nifty that he's becoming endeared to the others. They laugh together, and Nifty even makes him a crown to wear, something he doesn't complain about. Interestingly, Nifty's position as Alastor's employee doesn't change how she's spoken to and treated respectfully. Fans speculate that Alastor likes women more than men and obligates him to treat them kindly. He may have witnessed behavior from Husk, like a similar morality or kindness, that convinced him to spare the other Overlord's life. There are few good people in hell, and Husk may have had a likable quality that earned him Alastor's favor.
I dub thee King Roach.
Oh, to understand your twisted little mind.
Number 3. Husk's example. Although Alastor has a reputation for harming sinners who get in his way, he has spent 7 years away from hell, becoming irrelevant enough that people, even prominent stars like Angel Dust and Lucifer, don't know who he is. In the past, he used to broadcast the screams of his enemies on the radio to prove his relevance and power. Unfortunately, the modern age has made radio a less used form of media, meaning some of Alastor's broadcasts could fall on deaf ears. He may have known the time for television and social media was coming when Vox asked him to join the V's. As revealed in, radio killed the video star. While Alastor could dispatch his enemies with ease, as he shows everyone in Dad Beat Dad, by taking down several loan sharks single-handedly, he may have wanted to use someone as an example. Husk would have provided him the perfect image to showcase his power, as he now bends a former Overlord to his will. Many would likely consider the servitude to a radio demon as a fate worse than death, so witnessing Husk working for him could influence them enough to keep their heads down and stay out of Alastor's way. Husk's position as the hotel's bartender isn't terrible. He mixes drinks, listens to everyone's worries, and offers sage advice when allowed. Although Husk didn't choose to work for Charlie, his current situation must feel comfortable and stable. It may also be the nicest thing Alastor has made him do, as Husk has worked with Alastor long enough to know about his friends and potential deals. However, Alastor could always make Husk do something terrible to remind everyone why he shouldn't be messed with.
If you ever say that again, I will tear your soul apart.
Number 4. Alastor's power. A final reason that Alastor chose to spare Husk's life and kept his soul could be due to the sheer amount of his power. In the pilot and Dad Beat Dad, we hear 2 stories about Alastor's origins that are roughly the same. He came to hell suddenly and began overpowering the Overlords, broadcasting their screams for everyone to hear before he announced himself as the radio demon. Alastor is from the 1930s, meaning he has had nearly a century in hell to cultivate his reputation and abilities. Alastor's many souls under his control may have prevented him from adding Husk's soul to his collection. The only deal we witnessed Alastor make in the first season is with Charlie in Hello, Rosie. Even then, he has no interest in obtaining her soul and requires a single favor instead. Considering Charlie's desperation, he may have succeeded in asking for more if he tried. Although we don't know what Alastor will ask of Charlie, he may have let her off easy by asking for a single favor. Husk could have received the same treatment when the pair met and initially made their deal. Alastor may have shifted his focus from torturing the souls he owns to using them for other purposes. Instead of adding Husk's soul to his collection, he may have witnessed Husk's skills while visiting a casino, watching as he gambled, made drinks, and socialized with great success. As Alastor lives in a society where people thrive while giving in to their vices, Husk's skills and personality may have felt like worthy investments. If so, Alastor's plans have paid off, as Husk has helped make the Hazbin Hotel feel like a home to the other characters.
Ah, Husker, my good friend. Glad you could make it.
Although the series touches on it briefly in Dad Beat Dad, there's still plenty to explore about the relationship between Alastor and Husk. Alastor has plans for his fellow sinner, and working for the Hazbin Hotel may only be the beginning. Husk has made a home at the hotel and has grown attached to his friends there. Alastor may have to keep Husk in line by cutting those ties, forcing Husk to fight the constraints of their deal to keep his new loved ones safe. Only time will tell as we await more information in the second season.
My friend, I am doing some charity work, so I took it upon myself to volunteer your services.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated on our uploads.
Last day of Afterlife, and you're not off snorting a line off some hunk's abs?